Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Citizen Sleeper 2, where today we are trying to clean up everybody else's mess. I gotta admit, some serious trepidation on this one. Provided everything Kirk said to us is true, and the management of this tanker sucks, and the crew is eager to rebel, and they just need somebody to start the fire for them, then I guess this is no big deal, but it's going to be more complicated than that, right? This is not going to be the thing that we were told it was going to be. It just doesn't feel... I'm approaching this with some extreme trepidation. That said, I don't think there's anything else to do right now, right? Like, there's no more preparation to undergo. Yeah, let's just do it. Kirk is coming with us, and also... What's Kirk's deal? Okay, well, Kirk and Eugen have exactly the same skills, so it's Kirk and Bliss. I guess, okay, here's the other thing. Am I allowed to bring... Okay, I'm only allowed to bring 2 people. I didn't think so. The way the contract UI is set up, it would seem like you only get 2 people. My other concern here, I suppose, and the only reason that I might bring Eugen, is that I'm a little worried about Kirk physically overpowering us. But I guess I'm a big tough robot. We can handle this. We can probably survive this. The headstream looms large in the cockpit windows as it comes to a stop. I can't believe you talked me into this, Serafin sighs. This is not a good plan. Convincing Serafin to take Kirk out to this Lotic freighter wasn't exactly easy, but with the pithead on lockdown, there weren't really any options, or any other options. A voice crackles over Serafin's terminal, loud enough to hear, but quiet enough that you can't pick out what's being said. Okay, I'm just gonna let him do his job. You risk the urge to ask? Resist. I resisted the urge to ask. The tension in the cockpit is palpable, all of you aware that this ruse could fall apart at any moment. Serafin, you look behind you to see Kirk floating by the doorway. You keep them talking, all right? Serafin flicks the comm switch and begins speaking to the Lotic ship, thanking them for responding to the distress signal, trying his best to play the part of the nervous trader suffering an engine failure in the debris field. Kirk jerks his head for you to follow him into the corridor, and you unclip from your seat and float out behind him. Now, if it's okay with you, I'm going to play the captain on this one. His flat stare suggests that he isn't asking for permission. Ah, boy. I guess I'm okay with that. I don't necessarily see how it harms anything. How much am I letting my nerves show? I guess is the real question. Is this 1 or 2? I'm gonna keep it under my hat, I guess. Yeah, fine by me. Kirk nods. I appreciate it. Now, let me tell you how this is gonna go. He starts moving down the airlock, or down towards the airlock, and you follow as he talks. The headstream has been holding here, cycle after cycle, while Wellspring tried to quash our little rebellion. He smiles at the idea. Now the blockade is in effect, well, they'll know they have to hold out for longer still, while the messages from Lotic operations get less and less frequent. He stops by the lockers, swapping his Lotic uniform for an old flight jacket. Now this is a ship full of tired, unhappy, underpaid, and underfed workers. You both arrive at the airlock. We just have to nudge their anger in the right direction. There's a hiss as the airlock cycles. Lotic are coming aboard. Kirk catches your eye and gives you a wink. The airlock doors scissor open, revealing a drained-looking Lotic captain, flanked by security officers. Lambert, captain of the Headstream. He presents himself immediately, but with little enthusiasm. We've been in communication with your co-pilot, and are docking, as requested, to provide support. He looks between you and Kirk, his eyes lingering on you a little too long, no doubt taking in the strange vinyl skin, dark glowing eyes, and doll-like face of your frame. He directs his attention to Kirk. How fares your crew? Thank you, Captain. You notice the immediate change in Kirk, his deflated posture and softer speech. We're surviving as best we can, But now that you've come to our rescue, he sighs and holds out an eager hand to Lambert. Well, we're very grateful indeed. Lambert limply shakes Kirk's hand. Not to worry. The Lodic Syndicate takes its stewardship of Wellspring and the surrounding environs seriously. It is our duty to offer aid to traders and travelers alike. I'm afraid we don't have much to offer by way of supplies. Our stores have been depleted by our long posting here, but your crew is free to enter our ship and make use of its facilities while you make your repairs. Kirk continues playing the submissive captain, nodding enthusiastically and uttering a stream of thank yous. You feel like he's pushing it a little, but Lambert only seems to be paying the minimum of attention to him. Suddenly, he turns a sharp eye to you. And your pilot didn't mention you had a sleeper aboard. Am I standoffish? I'm a little standoffish. And what of it? Lambert flinches almost imperceptibly when you respond. Nothing at all, just observing. He glances suspiciously toward the corridor. I don't suppose you have any other surprises tucked away in here. Oh, no, not at all. Kirk jumps in. Apologies, our sleeper's a hard worker, and a quiet one, too. He shoots you a look. Perhaps if your ship is in need of maintenance, you can borrow them for a few cycles. Lambert eyes you more brazenly now, taking Kirk's lead as permission to indulge his curiosity. Yes. His eyes trace a tear in the thick skin of your forearm. Perhaps it could be of use to us. Kirk smiles. Well, I'll send them to speak with your crew. I'm sure they can direct the sleeper to appropriate tasks. Oh, they'd love that, Lambert jokes. They're a work-shy bunch, this lot. I'm sure they'd be eager for a slave. The word sets you on edge, as you might imagine. So, at this point, I feel like continuing to be standoffish is now sort of stepping directly in the way of Kirk's plan. Because he's trying to use me to smooth over the whole interaction, right? I'm gonna bite my tongue on this one, but I imagine there is some physical biting going on. Kirk's really laying it on too thick. He's gonna get us caught. We're happy to serve, Kirk bows. After all, we owe you our safety. Very good. Lambert seems suddenly bored or tired, or perhaps both. Tell your crew they are free to cross the docking tunnel then. He pauses, but remind them that no funny business will be tolerated. He smiles a sharp smile. I have matters to attend to. See you later, Captain. And with that, Lambert heads down the tunnel, still flanked by his two silent security officers. Kirk waits until he's out of sight to turn to you. Good. He lets out a breath. Well held, Sleeper. I thought from the look in your eye you were going to knock him out. He chuckles. Yeah, look, I know what the job is. Could you stop making everything worse? Glad to hear it. Kirk stares down the corridor. Because this dickhead won't hesitate to cut us loose in the debris field if we push him. Trust me. Kirk squeezes your shoulder. Shall we go meet this crew? See what their opinions are on Lodic's administration? He smiles broadly. With a captain like that, I doubt they'll be very positive. Alright, so we're keeping an eye on security. Unfortunately, the first pip on this bar has a negative effect associated with it, so that's problematic. And Bliss is just like not showing up today. Wow, everybody, what the fuck is going on? So, turning each section of the crew against their captain is the job, and it isn't going to be an easy one no matter what Kirk tells us. The engineering staff of the Headstream are already in doubt about their captain, so I guess we have a start here. And we're not, like, amazing at these tasks, but we did roll pretty high today. Fortunately, I rolled pretty high today, I should say, because the rest of my crew is not really showing up. Okay, well, here we have the Navigators. Navigators are supportive of Lambert, but less so of Lodic overall. Oof. Intuit is tough for us. Interface, also tough for us. This is basically just Bliss, and we're in rough shape on this one today. And Payload Ops. Operations support have been treated poorly by Lodic for a long time, probably. They're ready for some alternatives. Okay, and this is engage and endure. So I'm in good shape for the back of the ship. So the question is, where do we want to use the dice we have today? I mean, this is probably a place to go with like middling dice. The fact is that like only my dice are really good back here. Kirk can help some. In the engine room, well, I mean, things are not really that different here. This is a better place to spend like 6s, whereas the back of the ship's a better place for things like 4. So yeah, let's start with a little bit of this. Nothing spreads discontent more than malfunctioning engines, and nobody knows how to fuck up an engine quite like me. You have to be subtle in your sabotage. Listen, I got it. It's fine. We're on top of it. An overheat warning in the reactor means cycles of diagnostics. The crew are frustrated. We're kind of just making decent, hard-working people's lives more difficult here. Engine room crews are always the worst paid. A little bit of contract discussion should spread discontent. Indeed, the engine room crews start comparing contract terms and find many are paid unfairly. Alright, let's keep pushing them on that. And then we have Kirk with a 5. Do I want to just... I think I'm going to just throw him at this, maybe? Yeah. The neutral result on this is probably not a big deal. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. So, we can push now. And remember, our push is +3 at this point. But honestly, our crew dice are so bad, I wonder if maybe the thing to do is just to let them rest. I might... you know what? I might put a 3 into discuss the war. Lodic are trying to profit from the war and their monopoly on water. The cargo crews just need some encouragement to see it. I mean, people have got to be sensitive to this one giant megacorp owns all the water thing, right? Alright, positive outcome even. Tempers rise at the mention of the war. The cargo crew are not happy about Lodic's actions. Good, good. We got some sympathetic ears here. Yeah, this is so rough. We basically have to devote all of Bliss's good dice to this for the entirety of our time here, and I am wondering if it's worth doing a push to put 1 die into it today. Let's say no. Let's say no. Yeah, that middle thing is really bad. We need to find somebody with interface to be on our crew. Okay, Bliss is... What's the one socket we're using here is risky, so I think we got to put like all of Bliss's 3 pluses probably need to go in here. I guess... Am I going to do a push today is the question. Because if I'm going to do a push... Well, I guess if I'm going to do a push, let's do it when Bliss has a... We are getting a +3. We've had some terrible rolls. I guess let's throw 5 into this thing for a 6. Alright, we just need one more good result up here, but I do think I'm going to put this 4 into tampering with payloads. A leaking payload means the cargo crew will be on edge all cycle. Just don't get caught messing with the tanks. A little bit of industrial sabotage. The crew suspects debris damage rather than your crew when a new leak springs. They're sick of patch jobs. This is underhanded, but no, it's just under. I don't actually have a butt there. I don't necessarily, feel all that bad about fucking up Lodic's day, but I do feel bad about fucking up like the poor members of the crew's day and then blaming it on Lotic when it's not their fault. I don't feel bad for Lodic, to be clear, in that interaction. I feel bad for the crew people who are making their lives more difficult. So if we push, what are we going to do? We're going to put Kirk into Sorry, we're going to put Kirk's die into criticize contracts and maybe get there? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it. Kirk, show up on this. What do we got? Okay, positive outcome. The tension in the headstream has risen beyond the point of no return. Good luck to us. That means you can throw a couple of dice into debate Wellspring. The situation on Wellspring is untenable. You just need to get the nav techs to realize that on their own. I don't know how a debate does that. It's going to be pretty obvious what you're doing. If you're whatever, it's fine. Just put the dice in. The techs discuss what they might do to change things within the syndicate. The seeds are planted. Alright, keep pushing them. Many of the techs have friends trapped in loaded contracts. They discuss how unfair they are. Yeah, this is a lot of pips to get there just with Bliss. I gotta do something about one of these two skills. I mean, again, it would be super helpful if we could just find a single crew member who has interface. And then I'm willing to spend a 2 on this. Right, because like overwhelming odds, we still get at least neutral. Yeah, the cargo crew is split between those who support Lodic and those who don't. Your opinion isn't wanted, they say, but like we still made progress. Alright. We're gonna have to put some like 6s into the midship if we want to get this done before we run out of supplies and time. The thing is, like, I sort of want to push, but like Kirk's dice are so bad that even with a push, I don't necessarily. Yeah, jeez. All right, Bliss can help out here a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and put my 6 into this, even though that's a real bummer. I guess probably my 6 and my 5, right? This is not my cup of tea. And if we have to climb up there one neutral result at a time, it's going to take a while. Alright, but so far we've been very careful security-wise. And we still have plenty of time on this. So if I do the push... One thing I could do, I suppose, is we could put Kirk's 2 in here and then do the push. And that way Kirk has a 6, which ends up being a 4, and Bliss has a 3, which ends up being an acceptable die. I think I'm going to do this, and we're just going to hope here. Okay, not ideal. Negative outcome, Lotic stress. The discussion is treated with disdain. The cargo crew don't trust you, and Kirk isn't actually any fucking good at this. Alright, the comms array. The Headstream crew has started sending updates on the growing tensions to Wellspring. This is trouble. Cutting the ship's comms is a drastic move, but if they get word of a mutiny out to Wellspring, you are in trouble. Well... This kind of stuff is why I wanted to push. Hopefully we gained more speed than we gained risk there. Show me some positive results. Okay. We are actually having to crawl up this navigator support thing 1 pip at a time, and it's really shitty. But at least I managed to make use of a pretty large number of our dice overall there. Okay. Alright. I don't feel too bad about that. Bliss is kicking ass today. Bliss, please lock this up. It would be so good if you could just do this yourself. Alright. Plant those seeds. Go on. Excellent. Tension in the headstream has risen beyond the point of no return. All we gotta do is get through here real fast. And I think we're in really good shape on this one. So I'm gonna hold on, Kirk. You're not going first here. Let's start with the tampering, because I'm gonna be able to guaranteed get that many pips, and then I guess, you know, Kirk's 5 and my 3 are equally good here. You know, I probably we just use Kirk's 5 here. Guaranteed success. What am I talking about? All right, let's see what we got. Kirk rushes into the bay you're crossing. It's all kicking off, Sleeper. A wild glee is in his eyes. Lambert's lost control. He guides you through the Headstream, a ship you've become surprisingly familiar with over the past few cycles. Perhaps it is the influence of getting to know the crew and their complaints around Lambert and the Syndicate, but its twisting corridors, thick pipes, and cold metal have taken on an oppressive feel, cycle by cycle, hour by hour. I mean, we showed up expecting it to feel that way, more or less, right? So I don't think it's all that surprising. Now, as the shouts of conflict echo down the corridor ahead, where a room glows with the warm light of the galley, you feel that oppressive pall being scraped away, replaced with some new and exciting quality. Enough! Lambert's shout echoes like a shot as you enter the crowded galley. From what you can tell, more than half the crew have crowded into this space and are clumped around, some perched on the side units. I order you to return to your stations! Lambert floats slightly above the crowd, his hands held up in a gesture of futile calming or nervous surrender. You see him glance over his shoulder, and tracing his view, you see security officers tensely gathered at the back of the room. I don't trust Kirk to get the job done in a way that is productive for everybody. I'm going to approach them myself. A heavy hand you know is Kirk's falls on your shoulder as you try to move through the crowd. Oh, just wait. Kirk winks, and you turn to see security moving through the crowd. If you will not retreat willingly, I will have no other choice than to use force. Lambert's voice breaks with anger. Disperse! You watch as the guards form up behind Lambert, and then one moves forward and grabs him, forcing his arm behind his back. The act is met with a raucous cheer from the assembled crew and a yelp from Lambert himself. He's forced through the crowd, who part and jeer, heading directly for the corridor from which you entered. When Lambert is close, Kirk nods to the security officer holding him, and they stop. Lambert looks up in confusion and stares directly into Kirk's grin. You are officially removed from duty as captain of the Headstream on the authority of the Wellspring Workers Alliance. Kirk's tone is direct and clipped. This is done with the authority of a majority ballot of your crew. Workers Alliance, you have no authority. You're pirates! Lambert spits at Kirk. There will be consequences. On that, we agree. Kirk nods to the security officers, and they wrench a struggling Lambert from the room. Kirk watches Lambert go, determination set in his heavy brow. I don't know what's going on with Lambert's voice. He keeps getting more and more like, original trilogy era Imperial officer as I keep reading his lines. Kirk watches Lambert go, determination set in his heavy brow. So, what are we doing to him? Lambert can enjoy the hospitality of his own brig. Kirk pats you on the back. We have a celebration to muster. Okay, I mean, I have to admit, this thing seems to have gone off really smoothly. I mean, obviously, a lot of that is my work, specifically, but Kirk handled things better than I was hoping. Better than I was afraid he might, is maybe a good way to put that. The galley erupts in liberated joy, and soon drinks and food are passed around from a stash Lambert had been asking the quartermaster to keep back for his own use. You settle on a counter and look on as the crew celebrates. You watch as Kirk moves effortlessly through the room, giving and receiving thanks in equal measure. Despite his intimidating appearance, you see in him something softer coming to the surface, something reserved for those he has struggled alongside. Fresh allies are old friends to him. After the celebrations have died down and the crew have retreated to make plans for supporting the blockade, holding out on what they have, Kirk approaches you. Not toasting the victory? He offers you a transparent bag of ship-brewed moonshine. Ooh, bag of moonshine. Sorry, buddy, I might just have to pass. Yeah, to the crew of the Headstream, I guess. To our comrades. I think it's time we return to Wellspring. He looks off toward the last crew members leaving the room. We've done our job. Yeah, just say the word. Obviously, I have a lot of things to do. Hey, I'm just the pretend captain. Kirk smiles. That ship out there is yours to command, and everyone knows it. You suddenly notice how exhausted Kirk looks, his eyes dark and hooded. He looks down toward the scuffed floor. Look, you did well here. Actually, like, really well. He smiles weakly. Well, we certainly stirred something up. I don't want to overthink it. Lambert's right. Retaliation will come. He looks around the room. And I hope they'll be ready when it does. He sighs a heavy sigh. Kirk takes a deep breath and lets it out slow. The struggle goes on. He pushes off from the counter and heads toward the docking bridge. You take a moment before you follow, your mind drifting to the crew and the struggle they have ahead. And as you do, a small and perhaps unfair part of you thinks, well, that's life in the belt. Yeah, no, that's unfair. That's quite unfair. It's real, but it's unfair. So I'm sorry, what am I doing? I want to go to the map. Yep. Let's head back. I mean, that went really smoothly, right? And again, without us having even like a good skill balance for it. The cut thrums with tension. This steaming city and its brash inhabitants have quietened. Not to silence, but to a low rumble of conversation. The blockade is holding, the syndicate is waning, and everywhere there are plans to be made. You and Serafin float idly in Chasm Row, many stories deep in this wound in Wellspring's side. Waiting on Kirk, not far from the place you first met. Not far from the first place you met. A meeting Serafin still has lingering bruises from. You know, the punctuation and grammar is like all over the place. What are you guys doing? I guess there's a lot of text, and who knows if they have an editor. Okay. Kirk is inside somewhere, and like every other loaded contractor, he is making plans. Even before you arrived back in Wellspring, he had hijacked the rig's transmitter to speak with his fellow conspirators and make arrangements for his arrival. Watching Kirk's plot unfold made you realize that despite your involvement, in the end you are just a subsidiary part of this struggle, a chaotic outside actor with effect but no real influence. Why would I need to realize that? I feel like that's been perfectly clear the entire time. Now, waiting for Kirk's return, you feel a little solace in that. You aren't ready to be dragged into another struggle, not yet. You still have your freedom to win, and looking at Serafin next to you, you know that he does too. And also, we're here on a subsidiary struggle to even that, with the stuff about his sister. Alright, we're on. Kirk comes out of a passage nearby, nodding to the two of you to follow. He leads you both into the Rhyme Market passageways, this time not to the steaming market hall that lies beneath the deepest streets, but to a cramped room walled with pipes and rusted panels. Just a little longer, he nods to you both. Hold here. He exchanges a serious look with you before pushing off and gliding back out of the room. You watch Kirk go, your relationship having settled into a quiet and mutual respect. His eyes are on bigger things now, workers' councils and contract negotiations, and you know that. Perhaps, one cycle ahead, you will find a moment to drink together once again and discuss everything that has happened. For now, Kirk has other things on his mind. Serafin settles again. You shoot him a look, but his focus is elsewhere, his eyes glazed over. You fold your arms and wait. Sarah? Tala enters so quietly that in the dim room you barely notice her. She shoots you a look and smile as she enters. Thank you, she mouths silently, and then turns her attention to her brother. Tala. Serafin says her name like a sigh, like an exhale. He's shaking his head, his eyes already shining with uncontrollable emotion. She rushes across the room, flying into Serafin at speed. They embrace, softly spinning in the dust and dark, their fingers dug into each other's backs. They separate, a couple of pristine spheres of briny tears spinning away through the air as they do so. You're safe, Serafin nods, taking a breath. I'm safe, she smiles reassuringly, settling him. And in this settling, this gesture of care, you see a whole network of signs and secrets. Tala is the calm to Serafin's storm, the big sister who eases his heart. She looks him up and down. You are so big, Sarah. She laughs at her own statement. You've grown up. She tries to make it sound approving rather than patronizing. And you're just the same, sister. Serafin shakes his head, calling me big but making me feel small. The moment the statement leaves his lips, you feel a chill in the room, and you aren't sure if he meant it. Tala flinches a little, hurt but not wanting to show it. I came to find you, Tala tries again. I needed to find you. Serafin looks torn, and you see in him something you have come to recognize, the slow and careful raising of his defenses. Why now? He looks away. It's been a long time, Tala. Mom and Dad finally decide they want me to come home. A ripple of emotion runs through Tala, one she can't hide. Sarah, after you left, they're gone. She sighs. I thought you would have... She struggles to find the words. It's been a long time. It has. Serafin sets his face into a stern look of control, but you know he is raging inside. And in this moment you feel closer to him than you have felt in a while. Tala folds her arms, trying to regain a little control of the exchange. It's good to see you, Sarah. So good. You know what is coming, and you see Serafin brace for it too. But I can't leave with you. She looks pained. This isn't easy for her either. Serafin can only nod, a dulling acceptance washing over him. I wanted to find you, and I have. And I can see you are strong and well, and... She shoots you a glance. You have your life here. But the people here, the other contractors, they were the ones who found me, who've kept me going since I ended up here, desperate and alone. She smiles warmly. It's not that I owe them, it's that they are my family too. She gently places a hand on his shoulder. I know you understand this. She smiles at you. We all find our families out here. Serafin smiles a rare smile, his eyes wet. We do, sister. He embraces her again. They separate, and Tala turns her attention to you. I know you will take care of my brother, Sleeper. She smiles. I saw it in your eyes when you came to the pithead. She approaches and puts a hand on your shoulder. I can see you are building something of value on that ship of yours. I'll take care of Serafin. Such a weird, robot thing to say in this moment. Just brush aside the specifics of conversation here and be like, this is my role. I hope so. We'll let the what's the word I want here? Not insecurity exactly, but we'll let the nervous uncertainty slip out a little. She nods and takes her hand away. She folds her arms again, her sense of control returning. There is a wisdom and experience to Tala that brings a certain calm to you. You feel that now. Will you two be staying here for a while, or... Tala looks between you and Serafin. Serafin cuts in before you can answer. Not long. He smiles. We have our own freedom to find. Tala nods. Just be aware you're free to pass the blockade, but after that... She sighs. Wellspring's going to be locked down for a little while, at least until Kirk can establish his council. Next time you come, she smiles proudly, this will be a very different place. Hearing Tala say this, you suddenly see the authority in her, and realize that one of those council seats may well have her name on it. You look between the two of them and realize they have years to catch up on, and they'd probably rather do that without you watching. You nod to them and slip out of the room, a lilting conversation starting up the moment you leave. As you follow the twisting corridors back up to Chasm Row, you smile to yourself at the thought of Tala and Serafin reunited at last. You hope this whole adventure will make Serafin a little less moody, even though you know deep down it'll probably just make him worse. Okay, that's good. Big drive complete. On your way into the rig, you pass a tired-looking Eugen. Are we heading out? He sighs. Because I'm not sure I got another chit left to wager. How much did you lose? He squints at his fingers for a second, making calculations. Too much, he shrugs. I'm going to strap myself in for a nap. He disappears into the berths. Later in the cycle, Serafin quietly comes back to the rig. He immediately settles himself in the cockpit and starts running diagnostics on the engines. He looks up as you enter and shoots you a smile. Good to see you up here, Sleeper. I'm getting her ready to head out. Yeah, are you ready to go? Just say the word. He flicks a sequence of switches. Sleeper, Serafin turns to face you. Thank you. I appreciate you bringing us all the way out here. I won't forget it. Yeah, will Tala be okay? Yeah, she's found a place here. I'm really happy for her. He looks away out of the cockpit windows at Wellspring. She always was the responsible one. And I was always the one running away. I guess some things never change. Serafin quietly watches the diagnostics complete, a subtle smile on his lips. But one thing's for sure. We have been here too long. Serafin meets your eye. And we've been seen by too many people. Wellspring may be far out of Utsubo territory, but I'm sure Lane will find a way to reach his nasty claws out here, given enough time. Let's not give him the chance. Hey, guys? Bliss's voice echoes up the passage into the cockpit. They lean in the door, looking between the two of you. 2 contractors just dumped a load of fuel outside our ship. Said it was a gift? You and Serafin look at each other. Well, that's gotta be Kirk. Serafin gets up. It's either a thank you or his way of telling us to get going. Oh, it could absolutely be both. Serafin kicks off and glides out of the cockpit. Hey, so, while you two have been busy, so have I. I've been looking at the rig's drive, and I reckon it's due an upgrade. We'll need engine components, quite a few, so keep an eye out. Shipyards tend to be a good place to look. Yeah, thanks, Bliss. Anytime, they sigh. I better go help Serafin with that fuel. As Bliss leaves the cockpit, you find yourself lost in thought, considering your next step while the icy expanse of Wellspring glitters below. Okay. I have a hazmat unit now, and can freely travel through debris fields. Ooh, sorry, got the mute button closed in time, I think, there, but my throat is really drying out. Okay, anyway. So let's have a look at the ship. What are we talking about here? Drive upgrades. With 8 engine components, we can increase the ship's range. Okay, that's not too bad. We have 5 right now. I do not love how similar scrap components look to engine components. Maybe they could have, like, moved the circle to a different position or something. Can we get that stuff here? Is there a place to buy? So obviously we can buy fuel. We don't need to, though. This is food. Because, like, the Rhyme Market theoretically should have access to stuff. Supplies, we should definitely refill on supplies. Pretty important stuff. We can buy scrap components, but that is not quite the same thing. Yeah, and then the rest of this is closed to us for the moment, so I guess not right this second. But we'll get the upgrades eventually. I should probably, at the very least, go, like, work with these dice, right? We should make some money before we leave. Shift at the depot's pretty easy. Shift at the Cutwater is dangerous for whatever reason. I guess I'll put my 6 in here. Maybe it pays better. I mean, 16 cryo's not bad. The locals seem to have taken to you in your manner, and you end up with a handful of tips and compliments. Okay, so that's what you get there, 16. What do we get when we work a shift at the depot? Most of the syndicate workers are at the pit heads. The supply depot offers shifts to passing spacers. And a positive outcome does get you slightly less. You manage an efficient shift, and the supervisor throws you a few extra cryo for a job well done. Well, let's drop our 3 in here as well. And you know what? Honestly, like, the 1 becomes a 3. That's pretty good. Okay, I'll take that. Depot work is dull and tiring, and the pay is bad, but at least it's warm inside the warehouse. Yes, there's nothing else for us to do here. Let's just go ahead and get. So, how are we getting back is the question. And where to? We don't really need to go to the far spindle, right? The Helium Gate is our next actual intended stop. So, we've never been to the scatter yards before either, because we couldn't get to them before. So that's actually kind of an interesting reason to go back to the spindle. We don't need to go back to Flotilla, though, right? I need to go to Aki. I need to go all the way back to Greenbelt. We're definitely on our way there. Cadet has a drive from Hexport. Cadet in the scatter yards. The scatter yards are... Was that on the spindle? Or was that a flotsam thing? Oh. No, meet Cadet in the scatter... Right, I just said the scatter yards out loud, but my brain was like, in the scatter yards, that must be a location in one of the... You know, a clickable box in one of the locations we've been to. But yeah, no, okay, in the scatter yards, right. So I guess we're going back to the far spindle because it's what we can reach to pick up more fuel, and then we can make whatever other decision we want to make from here. Nice to be able to get back there in one move. You are the first to notice them. Small, white, smooth shapes at the boundaries between the hull plates, in the seams of the paneling, curling out from beneath vents. Mushrooms, dotted here and there, all across the cargo bay. Mushrooms, growing on your ship. Well, this doesn't seem very hygienic. Bliss floats next to you, surveying the scattering of pale caps in the cargo bay. It's hard not to agree, though you doubt spores and fungi can have a significant effect on your body. Not that you've risked it before. We should vent the cargo bay. Serafin's voice crackles through the cargo bay speakers. He's flying the ship, but you updated him on your new passengers. Now, this is what comes from having spores in wonky crates sitting in your bay cycle after cycle. Well, You look with slight embarrassment at the ragged spore crate that Nemba asked you to deliver to Aki as a gift. Maybe you should have proved a faster courier. We have a lot to do. I appreciate that there are consequences to not prioritizing things. It's really nice that, like, because it feels like there would have been consequences too to not pursuing things the way we did, and it's good. It's good for it to feel like there's always something at risk. Like, these decisions have consequences, right? Bliss sees you looking. Hey, don't blame yourself. They don't seem to be hurting anyone. They float over to a cap and tear it off at the stem. And we know from Nemba that these are edible, so we could farm them? We are always short of supplies, Serafin's voice buzzes through the speakers. But a few caps don't make a meal. Bliss inspects the cap. Well, I do like a good mushroom. They sniff it. Back on the eye, they have these matsutake that smelled amazing. You look over the cargo bay. It doesn't get used much. Most of your halls fit comfortably in 1/4. There's plenty of room to isolate a little growing area, maybe with some plastic sheets. Or you could just open the hatch and let the void of space sterilize the whole place for you as you fly. After all, if these things get into the air recyclers, you could have a serious problem on your hands. And who knows what they might do to the wiring. Either way, you better keep hold of the packed spore crate. Maybe just secure it in its own locker. Nemba wouldn't be impressed if you vented those spores. But the mushrooms, well, you need to decide what to do with them. I mean, venting the bay is the safer thing, for sure, right? If we keep the mushrooms and they fuck up the wiring at a critical moment or so, you know, like, a lot can go wrong in outer space. It is not friendly to life. And we don't really need the help. It's not like we're super short on supplies at the moment anyway. My inclination is to vent the bay. It's not like the... My inclination is to vent the bay. You sure about that? Serafin's voice crackles over the speakers. Yeah, vent them. It's not a good idea to... The ship. The integrity of the ship's like really important. All right then, Serafin's voice hisses. Better safe than sorry. You two will need to do it locally. It takes a minute to move the cargo from the bay into secure lockers. Once you're done, you and Bliss back out and seal the doors. Sorry, little fungi, Bliss says to the room as they start the cargo bay doors opening sequence. We wanted to keep you, but there wasn't much room. The bay vents into space. I can imagine this is Bliss's sick one-liner as they execute their enemies. Bliss would be a terrible action movie hero. Some of the bay vents into space, some of the caps torn from their place and thrown out into the void by the pressure change. You look at Bliss. What? They grin. Serafin's not the only one who can make jokes, you know. When has Serafin ever made a joke? It's possible that we just vented a bunch of value there, but I honestly, like... I would be so paranoid in space about the integrity of the ship and everything. So we don't necessarily need anything here, right? We have done a good job of exploring the far spindle. We just need to refuel, mostly. Which we do at the trade hall. Yeah, here we go. Fuel's not a horrible price here. Now, as far as engine components go, you want to be doing scrapper work, they said, or maybe we could get them from the ship? We could run a scrap shift. I don't know that we've actually ever done this before. What does this look like? Okay, positive outcome is just cryo. It's possible that processing raw scrap, I don't remember exactly how we got these. And it might be that processing raw scrap sometimes pays them out. It could be that buying scrap components could sometimes yield them, but it's hard to say. We have the dice for some ceiling shifts here. May as well take them. Yeah, payout's not amazing, but... Alright. Now... What do we want to do from here? We stopped. We refueled. I mean, a lot of me wants to just go to Greenbelt, which is to say Helion Gate and then Greenbelt, but I suppose we could bounce around... Oh, never mind. I guess this zone is just as irradiated as... Or maybe this zone's the only thing that was ever irradiated. I thought it was the red circle around Darkside that we weren't supposed to enter. Okay, well, we're supposed to locate a ship at Helion Gate anyway. I guess there's no reason not to just fly right over. Oh, and as soon as we get here... Hey, Sleeper, you got a moment? Eugene finds you in your berth. I have news about the Aphelion. Eugene has a seriousness you rarely see etched into the hard lines of his face. You remember the ship he's talking about. The Aphelion Path, the last surviving interstellar fraction ship in the Helion system, if his stories are to be believed. Well, I've been putting out some feelers for that little lost ship, and something came back. He glances around as if the information might lead to might leak to some unwanted source. I've been working with a contact of mine, a signal chaser working out of the hollow. He's got some promising data. He followed the trails from the hidden wreck we found, calculated the possible vectors. If this thing's still in the Helion system, it's in the shoals. He folds his arms across his broad chest, watching your reaction. I don't know what that means. I'm not allowed to say I don't know what that means, but... Are you still chasing that myth? He chuckles. Oh, it's no myth, Sleeper. This is the real deal. Not that I told my contact that. The problem is, the signal chaser's gone quiet. I mean, nothing for a few cycles now. Eugen shakes his head. Maybe he got wise to the value of what he found, but I doubt it. Maybe he just took a holiday. Eugen grins at his own joke. Is that what's the joke? What's the joke? Is there a joke? I reckon we pay a visit to the Hollow, turn up my ghosted contact, see how viable the data looks. If it looks good, we go out and get the ship. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. The Hollow's a long way away. Well, that's for sure. But with the contact going quiet, the coordinates might not be there for us if we take too long. That's all I've got. Eugen winks. Keep it between us, all right? We'll let the others know when we hit the Hollow. But remember what's at stake here, Sleeper. An interstellar ship. A ticket out of Helion. He pats you hard on the shoulder. It'll be worth it. With that, Eugen drifts out of the bunks, whistling. Okay. So... New location here. Identifying a ship with a viable ship mind means pouring through the records of Solheim's shipping lanes. Right, because we do desperately need that. Well, maybe not desperately, but also maybe for some definition of desperately. And then we can grab a bunch of scrap here. So what he was just talking about, is this on our map even? I wish that the scroll was a little bit smoother. Holes Rock, and this is just Wellspring. Yeah, I don't even know how to get to... Okay, that's the Hollow, the debris field settlement way out there. I mean, that doesn't look like it's out of range. Honestly, now that we have the nav system, it looks like we should be able to get there from Greenbelt. Okay, so what are we looking at here in the records? I mean, this is going to be interface tasks, right? Or an engineering task is available. One way to get the data you need from the archive is to power up the whole machinery of it. A daunting engineering task, but something we're more likely to be able to do than this selective extraction nonsense. It might take a minute. The archive's coming online. You watch as terminals light up in the dark. Okay, we only need 4 positive results. That's not so bad. That said, we're certainly not using any of these dice in that way. This is search for supplies, meaning supplies. I would much rather be scrapping, although scrapping is a danger activity, so 2s are kind of not ideal. Well, alright, let's try this. Let's try spending a 2 here. Wow, negative outcome. Pretty fucking negative, actually. I mean, we can convert supplies to energy if we have to. Alright, a little bit of fuel. I guess I'll take it. Maybe... the odds on the 1 are the same as the odds on the 2, so if I was willing to do those, I may as well do this. Wow, negative outcome twice. That's amazing. Well, I guess make a meal. Yeah, that's rough. That was a real beating. It's a shame I'm not allowed to have my crew members help me with this. How willing am I to throw 5s at this? Where am I at, drive point-wise? I'm at 2. So am I intending to level up my push further? Or am I saving this for skills? I'm probably saving this for skills. Intuit's totally broken, But we could gain a point of interface. I think it's probably worth trying to get our interface up, because it's a gap that seems to not really be available in crew members. So yeah, we're saving our points for that. So I guess maybe this is just like a lot of scrap work today. No, let's try it. Let's try 5s. How bad is the neutral outcome going to be, I wonder? Maybe we'll get lucky and we won't even have to see it. Nope, we get it. Okay. So the neutrals don't convert super well to success here. I guess at this point it's 2 dice no matter what. I probably don't want to risk a negative result though. I will absolutely throw a 4 into cutaway scrap. And then the 3 is fuel gathering probably. Where a neutral result still refills our fuel all the way. Okay, and with that, I think we can rest one more time and we should be good. Unless I roll really, really badly, which I suppose I might. No, we're good. We're good. Everything's fine. It is frustrating that this takes 2 dice no matter what. Alright. You hear something in the dark. In the dark and airless void of the archives, something flickers. You've been working in the dark, picking through the guts of corroded machines, skimming the data in their corrupt memories, digging through a graveyard in search of ghosts. But now, with another flicker, the place begins to come back to life. All along the rows of benches, some of them crushed by fallen ceiling panels, terminals begin to flicker into uneasy life. A cacophony of distorted sounds accompany the machines, as some of them immediately glitch and spark. Did you do this? You stand frozen as the archive glitters around you with a million shipping entries. The stream of information is overwhelming, node graphs drawing out routes and inventories, tracing a web around you in pale cyan. And suddenly, they all shut off, the terminals blinking off together, leaving a single translucent screen glowing softly in the dim room. And in that dim room, drifting towards you out of the dark, you see a figure. Is this what you're looking for? The voice crackles aggressively through your suit's local comms. Stop right there. Sleeper? Is that you? You hear Juni's voice now, tense and unsure. She stops beside the single online terminal, her suited form lit in the pale light. Juni! I'm overjoyed. You hear the smile in her voice. Good to see you again. She pauses and glances around, though the venue is a little unexpected. Yeah, what are you doing here? I'm searching these archives too, although slightly less forcefully than you. I did have this whole speech prepared for whatever salvager was ripping through these archives so messily, not to mention aggressively, but now that I know it was you, well, I'm just glad to see you. Although you really need to be more careful. You could have taken the entire archive down the way you were working with it. These machines are decades old. You can't just rifle through them like they were a scrap pile. I saw the pattern of your queries. A prime shipmind-equipped ship, still operational at the collapse, last located in the region around the Helion Gate. You can feel how pleased she is with herself from here. That about right? Yeah, nicely done. She nods. Would you expect anything else? That's why I did the hard work for you. Juni beckons you over to the lone lit-up terminal. You drift over and see a single point, a faded transit trail beside it, sunward from the Helion Gate. Something like this, maybe. She smiles and steps aside so you can see the screen. You check the info pane beside the map. Shipmind in use, abandoned by all hands after the collapse, and tantalizingly in reach. Well, what can I say? Thank you, Juni. But Juni turns, and in the glow of the terminal meets your eye with complete seriousness. The question is, what do you want it for? I don't feel the need to be keeping secrets from Juni here. I'm just going to tell her what's up. You tell her what Juni told you about your shifting body transformed by some unknown influence, about the need for a prime ship mind to house your emulated mind while he runs a diagnostic process. She's silent for a moment, unsure how to respond. I'm sorry, Sleeper, but I think I can help you. I want to come with you. Juni gives you a strong look. Do you know how often someone gets out to one of those old Solheim wrecks? They're more trouble than they're worth, but contained inside, there is an entire history to uncover. Okay, but I need that ship mind, just so we're all clear. And you're welcome to it, she pauses. I promise to help you get what you need, and not to get in your way. Look, I know I can't force you or trick you into taking me. That's why I wanted to offer you this instead. She indicates the terminal, still showing the ship's final resting place. I hoped that, maybe, if I helped you find what you needed, it would show I can be trusted. I mean, the problem between us is not trust. I trust you. Thank you for saying so. Look, I'll send the coordinates to your ship, and I'll be hanging around the gate until you're ready to leave. She shifts in front of the terminal and plugs in her deck, tapping away at rapid speed. And if you need to go get supplies from the spindle or anything else, fine. She folds her arms. I'll wait. But if you go on this job without me, I'll get the message. You won't see me again. With that, you leave her in the archive, extracting data as you ascend back to Helion Gate's upper levels. Okay, new local crew available. I suppose that is an accurate way to describe the situation. Let's go to the seized cargo. Sorry, before I go to the seized cargo, let's go to the rig and just eat another supply crate because things are going really well for us. So now we can go back over here and search for supplies. Okay, I think I'm just going to go ahead and throw another die at that because we do want to stock up. And then the contract from here is probably easy enough to do. If we're taking Juni with us, Juni definitely has interface, right? So that should ease things a little bit. We might be able to get actually decent skill coverage for the first time. And I am excited about that. I think we probably will wait one more day. Let's actually go ahead and rest here. Because obviously I want to go at the job with full supplies, right? And it looks like things are coming along pretty well here. I think we just scrap again. A little bit more. Here's the question. Do I think it's worth scrapping with a 4? Or am I worried that I'm going to damage or energy reduce myself? I don't remember what the... Yeah, let's go for it. Please don't negative. Okay, positive outcome. Well deserved. I totally earned that. All right. So I think this then is probably where we will leave it because we are just about ready to run out on that contract and see if we can't get a temporary bucket for my brains. So that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, the search for the optimal space bucket. And we'll see you then.